Hey, welcome, welcome. We're taking over from Lynn and Tanya now. We're doing the work from now on. No, I'm joking. I'm
I
joking.
love
My
it.
name is Uttam, or as the Americans will call me, Aram. And this is my twin, my wife, or whatever you want to call this thing here, Reena. But we have been through the worst. I wouldn't even call it worse. It was near enough death. But I will get Reena to start with everything that happened because obviously it was my fuck up. So I'm going to try and make it sound as nice as possible. So I'll let her dish out all the dirt from her point of view first of all, and then I will come in and explain from my point of view what was happening.
Okay, so when all this happened, so we were happily married. It was 6 years, going to be 7 now, so 6 years. Beautiful relationship. We had our home. We've got 2 kids. We were happy, and suddenly the storm came into our life. So Uttam was doing crystal healing, and he met a girl, a woman, I should say, not a girl, a woman, and so he went to her place twice to do chakra balancing, crystal healing, and everything. So it started from there. So they were constantly on the phone. So he was helping her. I know there was nothing from his side. He was helping her, and she was calling any time of the day and night to ask for help. Like, you know, he's helped her with a lot of things, like from drinking water to using toothpaste, from everything.
From opening her pineal glands
from everything, basically. So we didn't know that it was an act from her side. So one day, I think I should mention we were doing ayahuasca as well.
Yeah,
so
ayahuasca.
Uttam started ayahuasca a year before he met her, and he introduced her to ayahuasca. So it all started from ayahuasca, basically. While he was journeying, he was seeing pictures and everything that as you do when you drink the plant medicine. And he got the message that she was his twin. So he didn't think any of it. He came home, he said to me, blah, 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 blah. They're saying this and that, but I know you're my soulmate, and, you know, I know we're good, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have to think anything about it because like I said, we've always had a good relationship. He'll come and tell me everything. There was nothing, he would never do anything behind my back, and I would never do the same as well. And second time, he went ayahuasca again with her. That's when everything started again. Like that's what's turned everything upside down. And he came home. It was fine. 2 days, it was okay. After 2 days, he wouldn't talk to me. We started arguing a lot, which we never used to. There was no such thing as arguing, sulking, and things like that in our relationship. I knew there was something wrong. I was like, okay, right, go on. What's the matter? Then he said to me, look, I went to ayahuasca. In my journey, I saw me and her merging together. So we've had our reunion. She's my twin, and I'm leaving you for her. That's it. And I cried. I didn't know how to take it. I cried. I said, no, look, blah, blah, blah. I spoke to him. Look, this is not it. This can't happen. We've always felt there was something between us, like a connection, like, you know, a lot of things. He said, no, she's my twin, and that's it. I'm leaving you for her, basically. So we were still in the same house. For a week, we stayed in the same house together, but there was distance between us. It wasn't like we were before. He used to go out, go to work every night, well, every evening, then go to her house. They go, they sit, they talk about the whole connection, the whole palaver, whatever happened, I should say. And that used to really piss me off. I used to phone him in the middle of the night and say, where the fuck are you? What the hell are you doing? Are you fucking shagging her? What are you doing? It was really bad. And I started calling her, abusing her on the phone. And then eventually he came home. One day I was in the kitchen, I was cooking, and he was on the phone to her in front of me with no respect at all, texting her in front of me. Then I don't know what we spoke about, but we argued, and then he said to me, I think, no, the world would be a better place without you. Why don't you just go and kill yourself? Then I said to him, do you know what, pack up, get out. So he took all his stuff, he went. Obviously, I don't know what happened, but he landed there in our house. And it was really hard because every time he was coming home to see the kids, I would not make life easy for him as well, because I just could not see his face. There was always arguments, and because of the kids as well sometimes, then he decided, right, not to come. But it was quite hard because I was on my own. He came back home after, I think, a month or something, because he was homeless from, obviously, her house. She was homeless too. She had to leave her house. It wasn't good. Forget about raising a finger. He's never raised his voice at me. But this time he actually hit me, spat in my face. And I knew it wasn't him, because obviously I have been with him for, I know 6 years is not a long time, but it's long enough to know somebody.
Right.
Long enough to know someone. And I know that, right, that's not him. There is something wrong there. And at some point, I used to believe that she was his twin as well. And then I thought, no. Because I remember I went to ayahuasca as well, and I got the message that, okay, that we were each other's twin.
Mm-hmm.
I clearly got the message. I actually saw the light body, and I saw my heart beating and crying for him. I kind of saw it, felt it as well. And then he was talking to me. I don't know what dimension we were in, but he was talking to me. And I told him, he said to me, no, it's your subconscious playing with you, because you know she's my twin. That's why you're chatting shit now. But anyway, I started working with psychics then, just doing, like, you know, on the phone, the apps that you get, just doing stupid reading.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which turned out not to be stupid in the end. And they were telling me, right, this girl, she's psycho, she's got issues,
Mm-hmm.
she's envy of you, him, your relationship, she's got issues, and she's doing dark on him basically to separate both of you. And quite a lot of other people has actually said, right, you guys are twin. And deep down there was a fear in me. I was thinking, no, that can't be true. But then again, going back to my ayahuasca, going back to like what they talk about, the connection, all on Google, which is loads of rubbish the way they put it. But it was, I was doubting, I was questioning myself. Then eventually I was doing a lot of tarot reading on YouTube. I love tarot, so I was watching the videos and everything. And one day I came across Twin Flame. So I was watching about, you know, like what they had to say about Twin Flame. And then while I was scrolling down, checking the other videos, I came across your videos, yours and Tanya's. That's when I think there was this, how dark is influencing something to do with dark. And I watched it. And when I watched it, then I realized, right, everything that you talked about, that's exactly what's happened to us.
Yeah.
And then I realized, then I started going deep into it. Then I booked a session with you guys, and whatever you told me, it's hard to accept the first time what you told me. Maybe for me it wasn't, because I knew I had some information before coming to you guys. But it was really hard when people start talking about draconian and all this shit. On a normal day, people will think you're crazy. People will think, right, okay, what are you high on?
Yeah.
But for me, I had my trust, 100% trust in you guys. That's whatever you actually said to me, I took it in as, right, this is what's happening. And that's when we started doing the clearing.
I have a question for you. So
Yeah, go on.
when you first came to us, I think you were almost at the point where you were convinced that you weren't his twin, or you're like, I don't even know at this point. I remember, because she had been pushing this so hard on Uttam that you were even questioning it yourself. And to be honest, when you came to us, Tanya and I were like, they're already married, they have 2 kids together, and they're twins. That's so rare. So for all the people out there, there's so many twins out there like, oh, we're twin flames and we're married and everything. And it's like, no, you're not. You're really not. So when we first connected with you, we thought, oh, great, this is another one where they were married, they have kids, but they think they're twins, and then just shit's blowing up, and now we have to break it to her. But we checked your cord, and I mean, it was clear as day. It was like, you guys are twins. She was
basically screaming it at me, like, they are twins.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it okay if we describe kind of really what was happening, or Tanya, do you want to talk about the energy cloning? And
yeah.
So before we go there, I want to add something as well. So going back onto the ayahuasca ceremonies, so I was at that point, I was probably on my 7th ayahuasca ceremony. So I was quite a regular, and I had a lot of shit to deal with from childhood, because I'm going to explain everything on there. My parents, my mum committed suicide when I was 1 year old, and my dad committed suicide when I was 8. So I was dealing with abandonment issues and all that shit. So in my previous ones, I was dealing with that. So then I came out and I realized what my gift was and so on. But was it my 40th or 41st?
41st.
Yes, my 41st birthday. I decided to go on a ayahuasca retreat with Reena. I really wanted to go with her. So we went. On that particular night, I did not journey at all. I was in a corner, just like this, completely resisting the connection with Reena. And one of the healers I actually knew him. His name was Ian. And normally they do maximum of 2 healings in a session. But that particular night, he'd done about 5, 6 on me. And every time he was doing the healing, what seemed to me, he was being so unsuccessful. And he was getting really, and his voice also changed into like an old woman's kind of voice, trying to, whatever he was trying to get out. Then he got in touch with Reena and told Reena that he sensed that there were a lot of dark entities on me, because some of it actually went on him as well. But this particular bitch that pretended to be my twin, I don't even want to mention her name because I'm so furious about it, because the time that we lost my children, for example, especially my children means the world to me. And and that happened at that night. And I don't even talk to him because of everything that's happened now. He got really angry as well with these entities, and apparently, I don't know whether it's true or not, because he is apparently with his twin, because when they went to Peru together, they were shown that they were twins and so on. And his twin said that she'd never seen him as furious and as angry in the years that they've been together. And he actually came to my place, mine and Reena's place at that time, because I was helping him, because prior to all this shit happening, I used to run a successful coaching business. I was a speaker on the circuit. I was helping people with spirituality and so on. So I was helping this guy, this friend of mine who's also a healer, to get his business up on the road, a startup. And when he came to my house, and he gave me a few things like books and so on, which my fake twin turned around, and I don't know what work she did. She made him look like the culprit. She made ayahuasca look. Oh, also, she was working with someone else, which you guys knew about, my healer, the quantum healer. So he's completely disappeared off the face of this fucking planet now. You can't find him on any social media. He doesn't have his face. He doesn't have a website. He used to be the successful health coach and so on. He's disappeared completely. So they worked it together. He was planting the seeds in my head.
Yeah.
And she carried on it, because he will feel it, because the trust was with him, because we started off together. I also coached him how to become a public speaker and so on. And when he was healing me, he projected all the blame on ayahuasca.
Right.
That when you're doing an ayahuasca ceremony, you're opening portals, and they were trying to make it out that my shamans didn't know what they were doing. When they were opening the portals, the dark was coming in as well. So that's the way I had the dark. But I know now, coming out on the other side, that where the dark was coming from was from fake twin, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah, she was a dark karmic.
Yeah.
Very dark
really,
karmic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was fucked up on drugs and all these kind of things as well. So yeah. And that's another thing I like to add to this as well, to all the DMs out there. I know it's right now I'm out on the other side. I've achieved victory, as I will call it. I've seen the light. But when you're in that dark place, be very, very, very careful what these witches or bitches or Dracos or whatever you want to call them, whatever they're feeding you, be careful what you're being fed, because as this is well open, I'm 42 years old, but in my younger days, I wasn't no angel. I used to go to raves. I used to take drugs. I used to take ecstasy. I used to take coke and so on. It was more of a recreational thing. It was once a month or once every 3 months. So I was never hooked on it. So for good 15, 20 years of my life, I didn't take any drugs. But once I was with her, I found myself taking coke again, which she presented to me in a way. I don't know if it's a way to kill my spirituality, because as you're putting the substances in your body, you're not vibrating on the highest level, obviously. And then what I found myself as well being with her is, before I was with her, well, I'm back to being a vegan again. I was a vegan for about 2 years. And as soon as I left home with Reena and I went to hers, within a week I found myself eating meat again, putting carcasses into my body and so on. And she would play the game. Oh, I don't want to eat meat, but as you're eating it, I'm going to eat it, and so on. So it was very, it's like, how can I explain it? Puppet on a string.
Exactly.
That is the best way to explain it. And I'm going to divert a bit more, going back on the puppet on the string. I used to find myself, when I left Reena and I was with the fake twin, I used to find myself driving my car as if I'm coming home to my family. And then as I will get to the last bit of the house, I will turn away and go back. Something will stop me. And there will be times where I'll be questioning myself. I'll be saying, oh, Reena is the best woman I've ever been in my life. And we had the best relationship. And then all of a sudden, those beautiful thoughts will just come out of my mind. And the dark will come in again, because I couldn't actually, I used to call Reena a witch. Because every time I looked at her, she looked like a witch. And I will go on another subject again. When she introduced me to you guys, both you guys look like witches to me. Because your spirit just didn't take to me. Obviously, dark will not like the light. And this is a message I know, tell everybody who's watching this, all the twins, all the people are going through what they're going through, especially the DMs. You will come up against these devils. You will come up. And your loved one, your twin, will look like the enemy. And like Reena explained, I wasn't a violent person. And what I did to Reena, I'm not proud of it. I was slapping her, punching her, spat in her face. How many times was it?
10 times.
10 times. That, you don't do that to your worst enemy, let alone to the person that you love. And you will find that when you're in that situation, when you're under that dark spotlight, you will feel that all your actions that you're carrying out is right. And your twin, this is from my own personal experience, what Reena looked to me, she became like the obsessive ex-wife. She became she could, in other people's cases, she could be the obsessive girlfriend. And it looked like she was really obsessive. Like she was doing everything to win me back. And that's the way out it was being projected to me. And to the way I was thinking, or whatever was inside of me at that time, I was thinking that she was working with the dark, Reena was working with dark, and that she's working with all kinds of people using all kind of black magic and all kind of spells to bring me back because she's so obsessed with me. And then the ego kicks in as well at that time, because as also a male ego as well, an alpha male ego will kick in so much. But when I got with this woman, it was when I was with her in the non-physical, say if I'm sitting in the same room, there will be a connection. There will be a major connection that I never had with anybody. And that's what I used to say to Reena. But then when it came to the physical side of things, I'm not bragging about myself sexually, but she will vouch for me that I'm quite a pleasant lover in bed. But what I found myself with this woman, that I ejaculated after a minute, and I was saying, this didn't even happen to me as a teenager. But my spirit wasn't taking to her. Wasn't taking to her. I'll get times where I'll start questioning myself. Oh, I've just hit 40s. I wouldn't even get an erection, for example. But then I didn't question. Then at that time, I'm thinking Reena is doing something to mess up my life on this side also. See, the thing with this, we're going to have to go from A to F and then back to B, and then, because then we'll connect the dots. And it was just so horrible. And I found myself sleeping on the streets and being homeless and not having food, carrying all my suitcases in the city of London and so on. But what I didn't see is every time I called on Reena, no matter what time it was, she will get the car and try and come and find me anywhere. Aww. If it wasn't for Reena, this is a message to all the DFs, don't fucking give up. Do not give up. If this woman, it was 3 days ago, I've got this old saying to her. I say, why have a dog and bark about her all the time? I said, why have a dog and bark? So I said to her the other day, I came back from the train station, said, I have a name for you. I will call you my pit bull from now on. This is the kind of mentality that all the DFs that needs to have. You need to be those motherfucking pit bull bitches. No matter what, if you have to drag your DM, if you have to drug your DM to get to Lynn or Tanya or anyone in this world who's doing the work, do it. Because
I have a question for you, Uttam.
Yeah.
When you were going through all that with the dark karmic, did she feel similar to Reena?
She felt better than Reena.
Yeah.
Her energy was better than Reena, because me and Reena, we didn't have that spiritual connection, because the spiritual journey that we've been on, I've been on the spiritual journey a bit longer than Reena. And it doesn't mean that I'm more advanced or she's more advanced, because that's when spiritual ego kicks in. And we went through the journey. I've lost myself now. What's the question?
How did she feel the energy?
So what was happening, everything that I was doing in my spiritual journey, I was explaining to Reena, and then if she chose to follow what I was doing, like for example, going to ayahuasca, she will do it and so on. But I never felt it, that I had this spiritual connection. But with the karmic, it was so much more intense. For example, it'll be borderline telepathic, but then it was seeds that were being put in my head and so on. And it's absolutely superficial.
It's basically that. This is what I always tell him. Everything that you read on Google about twin flame, the connection, when they have a reunion, apparently you merge and all this, everything that you read on Google, that's exactly that was happening to him. Because obviously I think she knew that he would go and find out, oh, why is this happening with my twin, blah, blah, blah. And this will look like, right, okay, this is it.
She tried to replicate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, my first ever ayahuasca journey that I did, this is the same guy that I spoke about, Ian, because that's when I dealt with my parents passing. And what was revealed to me in that journey was really, really harsh for somebody to take. And this particular guy, Ian, was there, said, I'm there to support you and so on. And then he spoke about twin flame. that he met his twin flame, and I didn't have a clue what a twin flame was. And I said to him, well, I've got my soulmate. And he says to me, no, this is what happened. And it shows you how you do get the messages. You will get the message somehow, but it's up to us to be in the awareness. It depends how open we are, how receptive we are of the messages, or from the divine team, as I will call it, which I learned from you guys. I call it my divine team now. It's whenever I do my protection, it's always my divine team that's behind me, 100%. And the most important thing that I found, I've learned from Reena as well, is when I'm doing my protection or my clearing, is we do it together. She might be completely somewhere else in a different town, but we can still meet up on a different dimension and do the clearing, which for all the energy, and call on whatever we need to do. But these karmics will replicate, will over replicate, to the point where it will be like, oh yeah, this is my twin. And like Reena said, it's what I didn't have a clue about twin flames. I didn't give a fuck about twin flame, because as far as I was concerned, I found my soulmate, and we had the most perfect, we still have now, apart from this glitch that we had, the most perfect relationship that I've ever been in. And everybody used to use us as a role model. And for example, her younger brother, who doesn't talk to me anymore, and that in itself is for me, it's like a big defeat, because this young boy used to look up to our relationship, but he won't understand what's been happening with all the dark, because I know for a fact that I wouldn't carry out these actions normally. I'm actually against all these kind of things. It's everything that I was against, I found myself doing. For example, going on the drugs and eating the meat, raising my hand on Reena, my precious little baby girl, my baby girl. I always used to be angry with her, shouting at her, and it really, really turned our lives upside down. I wouldn't even say upside down, it just fucked everything up. And if it wasn't the strength of Reena, and going back to, this is the message to all the DFs, if it wasn't the strength that Reena had and the beliefs that she had, and doing all the research, and in those days I left home, I didn't put any money into the home at all, and Reena wasn't working, and every money that she was getting, she was buying the cheapest food for my children. My children were going without, but in order to save me from this bullshit that was going on, she went to everybody around the world. She was spending all her money trying to get me cleared. Every time I was getting cleared, I ended up, they were putting it back on me, because talking about the healer that I had, the quantum healer, he was putting everything on me. And sadly, not sadly, but luckily, Reena was strong. Again, I'm going to say to all the DFs, stand your ground. Stand your ground, because if you keep doing the work and you keep pushing for it, light will always win. Light is always more powerful than the dark. If you light a match in the dark, you will never get a shadow. Remember that. Only the dark will have a fucking shadow. We don't have shadows. We just shine our light. And this ain't no bragging. This ain't not me showing off. I'm here. We are here collectively to help one another. And if it means that somebody hears this message, or a DF is going through the point of quitting, please, from my heart to yours, do not quit. Don't quit on your DM. I'm getting fucking goosebumps on the back of my head.
All of us are.
Don't give up, because if Reena gave up on me, she would have been giving up on me and on my 2 children as well. That would have meant that one of us would have died. The way things that were going, twice I found myself trying to commit suicide. And coming from the background, that's why I introduced about my parents. So that also played a part on it. So they played on that weakness.
Oh yeah.
So be careful. Be careful about your weaknesses, because they will use your weaknesses against you. They will use it, because they will try everything and anything to do.
And then
what
they take
do.
Then they take your strengths and they dilute them so you can't do anything about it. So they get you from both ends, and they know you and they'll hear you. And when you were going through this, when the karmic was influencing you in the way she was, how much control did you feel you had over everything that you were doing and the way you were behaving?
I wasn't in control. I was up in the air. So it was.
Okay. How did that
the
feel?
way I'll explain it is going here, there. You don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going. And going back to my principles in life, when I look back at what happened, situations that happened with her, if that happened to me I would just walk completely away, which I found myself I didn't walk away from a lot of things, situations that came up in what you were calling a relationship. And I started questioning it. Then I would question it, and at a point I will find that I was coming to my senses. Then I'll make up my mind about something, say for example, that's it, I'm gonna walk away from this shit, and then I find I can't. Then all these stupid, whatever you want to call it, cords or magnet, they will come back and just pull you straight back in. It will be like suck you right up. You will get the moments that you will get those seconds of clarity, which you will get, and then they'll just go. They will just go, because from my experience, I would say that the higher self kicks in. The higher self kicks in, because when it came to, when I kicked her out and I told her to go back to her country where she came from, Eastern Europe, I started fasting. I did full fast, just water fast for 3 days so I can get my clarity. And I knew from my spirituality how to start cleansing myself. I started going back into my meditation, which I couldn't meditate in that period of 6 months that I was with her. I just couldn't meditate anymore. And what they also faked with me as well in my meditation is the Kundalini rising. They faked that, because that's when I started eating the meat, because I started doing more research. And there are certain people from India and so on says that you have to feed the body meat, but that's obviously the dark. And a lot of that information was being fed to me from her. Also, oh, I found this on YouTube. Why don't you look at this? It might help you towards your Kundalini rising. And I've never experienced, I've had in meditation, in my experience of meditation over 10 years, is you will get the vibrations. Obviously, all the toxic things are going to come up. But I've never shook as violently as I did in my meditation when all the shit was on me. It got to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed anymore. My back was just broken. I just couldn't get out of bed. I felt stagnant. I felt like I didn't want to do anything in life. The only thing that was keeping me going were my children, my 2 children. And with their light, they were shining their light from their own perspective. And it's a really sad journey. It's a really sad, and it could take people a long time to get over it. And it took me a long time to get over it. There were times when Reena said to me, oh, you're still in your dark. And I was saying, no, I'm in my power. I've stepped back into my personal power, which I didn't. And when I finally did, and I felt that I needed that extra bit of help, because I worked, so did Reena, we worked so hard on healing ourselves and so on after the tragedy, that eventually I said, you know what, I think it's time to speak to Lynn and Tanya now. And obviously when we did the last clearing, it's you guys just confirmed what I saw and what I was feeling, because and in the last healing that we had it was just residue that was left. It was residue, because I felt this residue, because I knew I was back into my power, but I was still feeling stagnant. Like my life wasn't going anywhere. We had no, well, what we're going to do? And also guilt will come in. How can I do this? You will play a lot of things, and all these scenarios, all these episodes that happen, if you do get out to the other side, it's going to haunt you. It will haunt you, and it's no fault of yours. At one point, I just took on all the blame. But when I realized, and we did all the healing work, I realized even up to now on the daily basis, Reena asked me, oh, was it really all that shit on you, or did you go on your own accord? I said, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, because like I said to Reena, with my work before, with all my work, being on stage, speaking to loads of people, I had a lot of attention from a lot of beautiful females. But I always, from day one, even with this one as well, I always put my boundaries, telling them I'm a married man, I'm happily married, my wife is my soulmate, and so on. And the karmic, I think she knew this, because I put this always, and whenever she used to ring, I would always talk about my wife, talk about my children. I never led her on at all in any way whatsoever. And this might be the case with other people, and it will be, she's not the sort of woman that I will go for. She was so much taller than me, she was younger than me, and completely different backgrounds, and on every aspect, on music, on whatever we liked. And what she did was, again, what she read on Google, and she just projected that on me, being the younger person, being from a different background, completely different parts of the world, but yet we have that connection and so on. But now when I look back on the connection that me and Reena have, we've had this connection before we even knew each other, to the point where we were both born on the island of Mauritius. My uncle was her school teacher, which she ended up, when we just came back after a month in Mauritius, she ended up spending a whole month in her teacher's house, where the teacher that used to teach her, who was my uncle, we were living in his apartment upstairs, and we've just become the closest of friends. When she came to the UK, where she lived, I was living in the same town all the time. We were literally not even 1 or 2 kilometers away from each other.
Yeah, every time that I moved to, he was around there.
I will always be in that same region. We will always be in the same area all the time. But when I look back at it now, I know for a fact that she is my twin. But there were the times where I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it at all, and I was pushing it away. No. DMs, do not push it away, because the more you push it away, the further it's going to get, and the harder the connection is going to be.
Now, and what exactly, when you came back around and you were starting to see things, how exactly did you said that Reena was extremely supportive and she assisted you in many ways. When you came back in, how did she treat you? How did she assist you in moving out of the guilt and everything that you were experiencing at that time?
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
That's how she did it, because Reena taught me unconditional love. She taught me unconditional love, and again, she brought it, because after all that, I slept with another woman, I had a relationship with another woman. It really takes someone of really strong roots, or somebody who's filled with pure unconditional love, to fight this battle. And Reena has always fought this battle with unconditional love. And unconditional love, it's in the word itself, unconditional. There are no conditions. So she supported me, but then she's also a human being on the physical. She's also conditioned by society, conditioned by films that she's watched in the younger days, what people, also my own family was telling her to leave me, because my dad was a player, and they were saying he's nothing but he's just like his dad, he's doing exactly what his dad would do, and so on. But she still fought all of that because she had the unconditional love, and that was the key.
For me, can I just add something? For me, it wasn't to fight it to get him back. For me, it was to fight it to clear that shit, like that dog around him. that did not bother me whether he came back into my life or not, because obviously I've had a lot of confirmations. I felt it as well that we're twins. Whether he's in my life or not, that doesn't really make any difference to me. I've got his 2 children, for God's sake, so it doesn't really matter. But for me, the most important thing was to clear him of all this stuff, so that he could become himself. He has his own free will. He sees what he wants to do. Then it was always up to him to decide what he want to do. You know, after clearing whether he want to come back, he want to go, whatever he wants to do, it was up to him. I'm glad he made the right choice.
Me too.
I remember.
Been so lost.
Yeah.
Because everyone in my circle quit on me. Everybody, including family, and so on. And I found myself on the streets. And without Reena, I probably wouldn't even be here to be speaking about this. And the message again for the DMs: be strong. I mean, for the DFs, be strong. But the DMs, what can I say? I've been through that shit. It's not. I can't give any easy messages because we're not dealing with the norm. But get all the help. Have faith. Whatever you believe in, whether you believe in a rock, whether you believe in the white light of Jesus, whether you believe in Jesus's blood, whatever is more powerful and more potent for you to call upon, do it. Do it, because light will always help you. There will be, for example, in our situation, Reena was getting the help somehow because I wasn't receptive of it. So from the celestial beings, if you want to call them that, the universe or whatever, the angels, they were communicating via Reena, because obviously I was completely blocked off and shut off, and I just wasn't seeing it. I had blinkers on, so I couldn't see anything. Just because your DFs are fighting for you doesn't mean that they're stalking you. I used to think my wife became a stalker because it got to the point. There's a lot of things that I also need to say. I was coming back with the karmic, coming back to her house at 11 o'clock at night. Reena was parked up in front of the door with my 2 children, and she says to me, "I'm not leaving." And that, to me, seems like psychotic behavior. But she was just fighting for me when I'm looking back at it now. But at that point where you will be in your life, you're not gonna see the sense. You're not gonna see the right thing that is going on. You're just gonna see the complete opposite. Right. And this is what these fucking witches want you to see. And don't allow them. Do not allow them. Always have that hope and love. I will say the biggest weapon will be the unconditional love. If you can use that, because that is the most powerful thing that will kill anything, is the unconditional love. Because that's what's kept me here today.
I would also like to add something else, like obviously what we've gone through, I know probably other women are going through the same thing as well. And obviously like him being with someone else, it's not a small thing. It's especially we're married, we have kids, it's a massive thing. I think even if you have, you know, no matter how the relationship is, it is a massive thing. Someone just sort of do something like that and just go. And a lot of women probably, they would say, yeah, fuck him, I'm not going to bother with him, he's done this, he's done that, blah, 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 blah. Yes, say it, whatever you want to do. But for me personally, keep that love there. Keep that little candle burning there, you know, like, okay, right, no matter what he's done, that's it. But like I always say to him, he'll agree to that as well. Like I always say, it's only a piece of meat that's going somewhere else. Like I always say that to him. If you're going to sleep, it's only a piece of meat that's going somewhere else. It doesn't matter what the DMs are doing, but always keep that love there. Keep on loving him rather than saying, oh, you're an asshole, you're a this, you're a that. That's like more pushing him away and making it worse. Probably is just love him the way he is. Fight for him like I did. You know, I came to Lynn and Tanya. They helped me, but I still had the love for him no matter what. It was really bad to me. It was really bad to me.
And I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it at all. And this shit will make you into the worst version of yourself, the dark side, because they will bring out all the darkness in you. And sometimes part of me believes that this was part of the journey.
Yep.
Because in order for me and Reena to have that beautiful relationship, I had to transmute all this dark that was residing within me.
Yeah.
And in turn, Reena being my twin, which is a mirror, I was inflaming that inside of her also. Because those, I won't even call them argument, those battles, those fights that me and Reena was having on a daily basis, I've never experienced that in my life at all.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I did want to kill Reena. It got to that point. At one point, I had my hands on her throat, literally squeezing her throat, saying, "I'm going to kill you today." And it's not something that I'm proud of, but we went through that, and I don't want to see other people going through it. But if that is your journey, I'm sorry, you have to jump on that ship. That ship, unfortunately. And also the other part of me is, that's when I try and get how can I call it, a conclusion, or maybe get some light on this situation, is maybe that is your path. I don't know.
True for a lot of twins, because in order to find the light, we have to wade through the dark.
We have to go through it, and it's shit. It's fucking shit.
Yeah.
But when we've still got a lot of work that we're still doing. We've got a lot of rebuilding, which we have been doing. There will always be that dirty stamp on our relationship. There will always be that dark mark. But like Reena said, that's on the physical. What we have on the non-physical is
what counts.
Million times more potent than what we have on this physical realm. Because no matter what will happen, even though if me and Reena did die, our light, our soul will still be going somewhere else, and we will still be meeting. And we've been fortunate enough to fight this battle, and we are here to tell the story of what's happened. And it's not anything I will wish on my worst enemy, to be honest with you. And again, my children, my boy, he was only 2 years old, so his subconscious will sponge all that in anyway. It will have an effect on him. It will have an effect on his adulthood. But my little girl, who's 6 years old, she knew what was going on. Even her, it really hurts me in my home sometimes when me and Reena's having a conversation, and my daughter will step in, and it was only yesterday or the day before, she said, "We all know whose fault that was, the redhead." So my little girl is talking like that. It's really, really hurtful. It is very hurtful, because to me, still part of me believes that I carried out that action. But then I have to step back into my higher self and realize, you know what, that wasn't you. That wasn't you, what you will normally do. And it really, really is a nasty situation to be in. And if anyone can resonate with what I've been going through and Reena's been going through, shed a lot of light on a lot of the things that happen on, for example, the mind control, the morphing of Reena's energy,
The
Kundalini rising.
Rises only with a kiss.
Oh yes, I didn't want to go into this fucking shitty thing. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, she'll just give me a kiss, and then my Kundalini will start going wild for no reason. All the shakes will start happening. So,
I remember when Reena came to us, it was really interesting because she's like, "He's not himself. He's not himself," and we knew instantly. Like, we went and connected to you, and the DMs, when we connect to them when we're doing a dark mitigation, they're all like, they're stressed out, they're pacing, they look completely shut down. I mean, you were just going nuts. And the thing with the dark, like you experience, and there's so many DMs out there that are experiencing this, and the DFs are watching them to do it, but they're blaming the DFs because they don't understand that when you're in this situation, when you've got dark on you, when you're being influenced by dark, when you've got mind control, you are being controlled to be a completely different person. You really don't have that much control over it. Even when you pull out of it for a second, the second they sense you pulling back in towards the light, it's like they yank you right back. And so the dangerous thing for a lot of DMs is you get stuck in it because they don't have the strength of the DF. Like Reena, we were looking at it and we were like, this isn't his fault. The DMs, it's not your fault. So with unconditional love like Reena, and then being able to fight all of that shit off, I mean, that's really what it takes. But sadly, there's so many people that don't even recognize it for what it is, and it just makes you guys look like you're screwing off, you're, you know, being selfish, you're narcissistic. We hear all this crap out there, and the DFs are walking away from you guys, and you're not even doing anything wrong. It's like, it's tragic. It's tragic.
And what I would also like to add with the DMs is we don't have the strength. We think, because they say grow a pair of balls, I would say to the DMs, cut your fucking balls off and grow yourself a pair of, have yourself a vagina, because that's where the power comes from. From my experience, it's the DFs that's got the power to fight, because us men will just give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep fighting the battle. That's why it's a battle. Yeah. Fight it daily, and eventually you will see the light.
I think you should add about the she was feeding you shit every day.
Oh yeah. She was feeding what the food was.
The food, honey, and all this.
Oh yeah, she was going back to her. She went back to her country and she came back with honey from her grandmother's farm and so on, and Romania. Organic stuff, organic foods. And every day she'll put the honey in my porridge, for example, all the fruits from her grandmother's garden and things like that. And that's probably another way to put all the evil shit in as well. You never know how to put, if you're ingesting, for example, if you're ingesting blood that's had rituals done to it, obviously that's going to mix with your own. That's going to mix with your own. It could be sacrificial, it could be human, it could be animal, it could be anything. And I never believed in all that shit. I used to say I'm much more stronger than that. None of that shit will ever touch me. But it is out there. It is out there. Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi out there. We can't see it, but yet we can speak, we can write essays, we can do theologies on it, we can write millions of words on how Wi-Fi works, but yet we can't fucking see it. Right. So it's the same thing with the dark, with the light, with things beyond the spirit, the physical realm. It's there, not because you can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, it doesn't exist. It does exist. So start believing that there are these things, because it's the same as Wi-Fi. Which
Tanya's just went down. She'll be back.
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
So that's...
Okay. Reena just brought up something super interesting. We just took a break. But when we first started working together, we really want to talk about kind of what we found, what was really going on with the dark that was influenced. Dark can be a lot of things. It can be doubt, fear, it can be intent, it can be spells, it can be all different kinds of stuff. Demonic stuff, MK, mind control, voodoo, Santeria.
Right, yes. So when I first came to you guys, when you did the check, the mitigation, you actually spoke about all the work that was being done on him. So you spoke about voodoo, hoodoo, blood voodoo, and you actually said that quite clear that you saw blood voodoo being done on him. And you actually mentioned that, right, if he has blood voodoo on him, he's going to get like something he's going to come out. And after a few weeks, he turned up at home to see the kids, because he used to come and see the kids, and I used to be in a different room, not talk to him, not see him or anything. But that day, he was covered in spots everywhere, big, massive, which he still has on his back. It's turned black now.
They weren't spots. They were like, you know when you get bed bugs when they bite you? They were bumps.
I used to get hives, like hives.
Yes, and it actually left dirty marks on my beautiful body. I've got some dirty marks on my back, and it's horrible. Even Reena always says it to me when she's looking at my body. She's like, "Oh, what happened to your beautiful body? That bitch." Even they were just coming up, and it was horrible. It was so itchy. It was really. They were nasty shit, and I knew they weren't bed bugs. I knew they weren't bed bugs or anything like that. And it was the first time I had it. I was with her in the park. It was summer, and I was with her in the park, and then all of a sudden I had all these marks on my back, and she didn't have one mark on her. Then it was another time when I went to stay with a friend. I was staying in his place, and we were all sleeping in the same room. And I had all these marks, and she didn't have it at all. And my friend only had one mark on him, and I'm continuously getting it. And I was even joking with my friends, because my friend was Caucasian, and so was she. She was Caucasian, and I said, well, these bugs must be really, really racist, because they must like dark skin, because you guys ain't getting nothing, and I'm getting it. And at that time it was funny, but it's not funny at all, because when it's your blood being involved, this starts playing with your physical immune system. Because your blood is what circulates through your body, and if that's had a dirty impact on it, it's going to play a major part. And it's how can I explain it?
It manifests in a lot of different ways, and with a lot of people it'll manifest in whatever they're susceptible to. So you'll have lung problems, or it could even develop into blood clots and heart issues, and it can kill people, septic infections, but like rashes or hives or red eyes or whatever. It just depends on the person, and it can come in multiple ways too. But the thing about it is, you might think, oh, I'm sick, or I've got this rash, or you don't know what the hell's going on. The doctors can't figure it out. It's subtle.
Right.
Definitely.
It is.
And it's really, really bad. And also the mind control, I would say, is fucking real. Don't, when all the people out there going out to get help, all the DMs, whoever are going out to get help, when you're being told that you're being MK controlled, it's fucking real. Because I've been through it. I'm not sitting here for fun. We're not making a penny out of this, the four of us. We're doing it purely because we're shining our lights. It's Tanya and Lynn could have better things to be doing. It's gone past midnight in the UK. I could be sleeping, but we're here to help you guys. But when these MK shit is on your head, you won't have control over your actions, because you will find yourself doing things. You'll find yourself sitting somewhere where you've never been, and you're looking at somewhere where you're thinking, oh, what the fuck is going on? You come to your senses for momentarily. You'll come into your senses, but then it'll go again. It'll completely go, and you'll switch to this devil. That's the only way I can describe it, because that's how I felt when I look back at it now. I felt like I was being devilish, because this is not the act of love. This is not the act of love. Love is not going to destroy. Love is not going to get you to raise your hand on somebody who's born you two children, the mother of your children, let alone if you had an issue, a personal issue with your partner. Yeah, fair enough. But this is the mother of your children.
Right.
So when you're feeling that way, let the alarm bells are ringing for a reason. Seek help. Seek help. When you're ready to seek help, the help will find you halfway.
Right.
Because where we are, Reena was proactive enough to seek out the help. She was connecting with light, connecting with Michael, with all the angels. She was connecting with everybody, and through that, she found you guys who helped us out tremendously to get out of this shit. And I'm not saying this lightly, because what we've been through is hell and back.
Yeah.
I would like to add something on that. So for me, it was really easy to know that there was dark, because, like I said, we've always had a good relationship. We've never had any issues, no arguments, nothing at all. For us, it was always like he agrees to what I say and I agree to what he says, as in anything, an idea about music, about TV, about everything. We kind of always clicked together. Like, right, we never had any issues. If he liked something, like, oh yeah, I like it too. Or I like something, oh yeah, I like it too. I want to do that. It's like we were always going, in the same direction. And suddenly things started going, not right. Then for me, it was so easy to see that, right, okay, there's something wrong. There is something wrong, because I'm still here.
Right.
And I'm still 100%, like, I know what I'm doing. I'm still with my kids. It's him who's gone, so there's something wrong. So that's when I started questioning, thinking, right, okay, is there something wrong with me? Have I done something wrong? And then that's when I started talking to the psychics to find out, right, what's really going on. But then after speaking to you guys, like, obviously, I knew there was something wrong, but I was not 100% sure that, right, okay, I could be wrong. But then obviously when I spoke to you guys, the first validation was the confirmation, sorry, it was the blood voodoo that you spoke about, which was true. We actually saw that. The second one was the, because I remember Lynn said to me that she sees gypsy, witchcraft, whatever you call it, was being done on him.
There's gypsy magic.
Something, yeah. So when, obviously after he was cleared, he came back, he started talking to me, started telling me things. Then he mentioned that one day he was sleeping, or he was doing something. Do you want to talk about it?
One day I was supposed to be going to work, and I was doing Uber at that time, and I really needed to go out to make money, and I couldn't find myself getting out of bed. So I stayed in bed. Then I started getting these visions, clear visions, that I saw this old, like, corrugated iron kind of barn kind of building, and it had chickens, like chicken roaming around. And then I saw this old woman was standing there, like the old gypsy kind of women that you have with those funny dresses and the hats and so on. And when I came out of this moment of meditation, I spoke to the karmic, and I said to her, well, I think I'm getting messages about your childhood. Maybe that's why you have issues. Something must have happened to you on the farm when you go to your grandmother's. And that's when she revealed to me that her grandmother was actually half Romanian gypsy. And she was this 82-year-old woman that she always used to go on about. And she always used to say to me, oh, I really need to go and see my grandmother. I really need to go and see her, because she's 82. I don't know if I'll get to see her again. And then she will go there and spend time at her grandmother's. But then I was getting these visions. Something was trying to project what was happening to me, but I was getting the wrong signals. And I was thinking, oh, it's things that's happened to you in your childhood. But obviously, it was the work that Reena was being done and so on. And then from then on, when that happened, I think it was within 2 days or 3 days afterwards, I sent her back. I told her to go back to her country, and that I will come back for her. But I knew that deep down within myself, I knew that she would never come back, because I started sensing, I started coming back to who I was, and I started seeing. And then that's when I rang Reena, and I said to Reena, look, I'm sorry for what's happened and so on, and I'm ready to come back home.
I would like to add as well, so when, whatever he said, when this happened, that was the time you guys had cleared him already, and You gave me 2 weeks. You said within 2 weeks, because blood voodoo was being done on him, within 2 weeks, it's all going to clear up and he will see sense. And that's when obviously he came back home. So, so what you did for us as well, obviously helped us a lot. The clearing, the everything else. So that really, really helped.
And I also came back 11/11.
He came back on the 11th of November. There was some massive thing happening on that day, something to do with twins, apparently some portal or something.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. He came back, went back the next day, and then came back after 2 days. So he came back after he was cleared, came back home. I think he spoke to her, telling her that, right, I know what you've been doing, and that's it, I'm done with you now. And I'll let you speak about this, how you felt and everything.
I was mad. I was furious. I didn't speak to her. I done voice notes on WhatsApp, and I just told her, yeah, I know everything that you've done and all this shit and so on, that you can't keep doing your shit no more, because we're much stronger than that. And now it's for you to deal with your shit. But going back to her grandmother, the half gypsy, this is the person that was sending the food that I was ingesting on a daily basis. Yeah. So be careful. Be very, very careful. It could be, Reena always said to me, there's an older person that's working with her. And I used to think, who could this older person be? I never thought it would be the grandmother that was doing it. And so on. So they probably all have their own little clans that they work with.
Oh yeah. Some of them bigger than others. Some of them are massive, but they generally have people that assist them and help, and it can be interesting.
And the weirdest part of this is my healer. This is the bit where I find how not strange, but this is how real shit can get, because this healer guy, who was a friend of mine, I think he initiated everything from the past, from when I started working with him, because there was a particular incident that happened. We went to an event together, and we were both speaking at that event, and at lunchtime we were all going out together from this hotel conference room to go and have lunch. And somehow it was only me and this so-called healer guy ended up being on our own. And I was in the middle of London, where I was brought up, and I know it at the back of my hands. And I couldn't find this place to eat, because we were both vegans and we wanted to get vegan food. So we ended up walking around the block for 1 hour. Now when you look back at it, I realized that the work was being done from then. It was being initiated at that time, because he already saw the light. But what I wanted to touch on this one is, now that everything's in the open, this guy has completely disappeared off the face of this planet. I can't see him anywhere. And this is what will make for me, that's what makes everything so real. Yeah. Because you can't just shut off your business overnight.
You know, when twins are being targeted by dark, like, we have a big price tag on our heads, because we have the brightest light. We're here for a reason. Our job is to combat dark, to outshine dark. So we have a big price tag on our heads, and we get hunted down by dark. If people who are dark are instrumental in coming against twins and preventing you guys from coming together, and for being involved in doing whatever it takes with intent. It's the big thing is intent. If they're doing it intentionally because they're trying to snuff your light, they're trying to keep you guys away from each other, that is like the worst thing you can do on the soul level. The retribution on that, like when we have to go deal with karmics that are doing this shit, it's instant. It's like, you're done, you're powered down, you don't get to do it anymore. This is something that God takes very seriously. If you think of people that, like karmics that have to face, okay, you're doing this with intent and we need to stop this kind of crap. God and team, Michael and other archangels and the people involved, or the beings that are involved, look at this as swift and merciless. Like there's zero tolerance. And the further we get in the stage, there's no tolerance. I mean, it's like they shut them down. It's your game over. And anybody that they try to get to help them, it's game over for them too. It goes all the way down the network. And so we've seen a lot of people that have actually come to us eventually who are at the receiving end of that. And their whole lives have changed. It's crazy. It's like things get ripped away. The retribution on this shit for attacking you guys is just unbelievable. And it's palpable. I mean, it manifests in 3D. So it's no joke. Attacking twins like this on From the Dark,
yeah.
They're not joking around, but neither are we. So God doesn't think this is funny either. So
this shit is not funny at all. It's some deep shit. It's some proper deep shit, and I'm grateful that there are people like you guys doing the work that you're doing, and also I've been saying to Reena, we're being drawn to helping as well, because prior to finding out about the twin, my work was helping people. I was the light worker, as you want to put labels on it. I'm not a label person, and it's just now that we know, we just have to find out how to help, because I've always been this sort of person. When I've walked through a trodden path, if I can help someone going through that journey, not to go into that thorn, this is what I do. This is what I've always considered myself to be throughout my life, is to help people. And already now I'm so grateful, and I'm happy that you guys reached out to us. Well, we reached out to you first, but yeah.
Reena did. You were pissed about it, let's be honest.
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm not dealing with these witches, bitches, or whatever you want to call them.
That's exactly what he said.
Especially Lynn. Lynn was the one. I was like, I'm not taking to Lynn's spirit. But Tanya's all right. And Reena kept saying, Reena was saying to me, well, the reason you don't take to Lynn is because she's like you. She's very outgoing. She's very outspoken. And I don't really mince my words. When I've got to say something, I'll say it. Because
Tanya is the sweet one, the quiet one.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, like you. She seems like she's the reflector. She's there reflecting on everything. But deep down, she's the mastermind. we know. She's the real witch out of all of this.
I remember Reena. Yeah, Reena was like, he wants to talk to you guys, and I was like, bring it, let's do this. He was like, I don't know, it was funny.
That's right.
But even after we did the last healing, I still had my doubts, because obviously there was still the residue and stuff like that. But after using I'm not going to explain what it is on here, because this is the work that you guys do. But after using certain protection that I've used from you guys, nowadays it's just like I could be in the toilet sitting down, and straight away I can just do it. I can just put every single, if I feel that there's a little rupture somewhere in the seal, I know it's there, and I'll quickly just fill it up, and I'll sense, because I always sense energy, until they put that block on me for that 6 months, and all that was dark, and now I'm going back to what I used to be. I mean, even Tanya and Lynn will tell you, when we spoke about 3-4 months ago, the state that I was in compared to what I am now. I was broken. I didn't feel like doing anything in life whatsoever, and just continuously smoking cannabis. Couldn't live without smoking cannabis. I had to smoke cannabis. I was smoking it from when I woke up until I go to bed. And now it's just completely different. I'm back to my normal self. But there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing. You have to be willing. And again, Reena always spoke to me about this whilst I was in that dark period. We all have free will. And I will say my free will came from when I realized, when I sent her away, when I started smelling that things weren't right. And that's when your free will hits you, act on it. Do whatever you can in your capabilities, whatever you're able to do, just do it. And there will always be, because what I believe in, once you take that first step, God, the universe, Buddha, Krishna, Allah, whichever is more powerful, Jesus for you, will match you, and will bring people and circumstances into your life to get you out. Because we are all vibration, and that's why these fucking evil fuckers will mess with the vibration. If you want to call it, it's a glitch in the matrix. That's what it is. That's what they want to do. They just want to come there, start, you're driving on the freeway and you get a piece of a tree that will fall, and it's up to you if you want to navigate that tree. You can drive around it, you can do what you want, or you can choose to stay by that tree, and that's where you will be forever. But you, the help will always be there. Always send out. Intention is so powerful. It's so powerful. And if you're not feeling right, or there are questions, there are alarm bells ringing in your head, it's coming for a reason. It's there for a reason. Because yes, the dark can put anything on you, but fundamentally your higher self will kick in. And that's through I'm only speaking from my personal experience, but the higher self will eventually kick in.
For him, I would like to add something as well. For him, when he left me, he went, or maybe before, I think before you left as well. So he was getting messages that I'm not the right one for him. And he was seeing angel feathers falling. He was seeing numbers. He was seeing a lot of things that for him at that time was like, right, yes, I've seen 111. So that time I was thinking about, you're not the right one for me, and this is the message I got, and I'm taking that message. So he used to see a lot of things that I don't know whether she was doing that or something, because I remember they used to send a lot of messages, and he used, every time he would see a number plate 555, he would take a picture, send it to her, which I'm aware of. There you go, these are signs from the angels, blah, blah, blah. And she was doing the same. So when this was happening between us, the numbers were showing for no reason. A lot of things was happening to show him that, right, she's not the right one for you. The other one is. And that used to really annoy me. It used to really, really annoy me. Because he would come and say, yes, I've seen angel feather falling today, and that time I was thinking, right, you know, she's my twin, blah, 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 and this is my confirmation and everything. Then I said to him, well, do you know how to read angel messages then? It could be like, right, this is the wrong one for you, this one is the right one for you, or something else. But now it's different. So when we look back, we see the signs were there, but we just didn't know.
But also I'd like to add on there that we have moved on. Technologically, we have moved on. And these dark entities are using technology. As well. So what I would like to add is, at that time when I was looking into my tarot, I was only getting messages that will contradict what Reena was doing. But again, it's the veil that's being put, so that you see what you need to see and what you don't need to see. So also be very, very careful to people that you will seek for help, because there are a lot of healers out there that doesn't even know how to protect themselves, let alone protect you. So be very careful. It's not, you don't need to go and sit with someone with a crystal bowl, for fuck's sake. It could be just two ladies that you guys are doing the job. You don't have to, because it's all bullshit. This is all what society is trying to project to us. It doesn't work that way, because when you're dealing with the unknown, it's going to be very alien to you. And if that's alien to you, the aliens will attack. Believe me, they will attack you, because that's the way I say. I couldn't even believe that I was getting alien attacks.
We've been aliened.
We've been aliened, or whatever that you want to call it. But unfortunately, they are in all walks of life. And they are in mainstream. As I'm not even going to go any further. You can go on YouTube, do your research. But
Or
once
not.
you've had that validate. Yes, validation is key. Is definitely key, and keep pushing forward.
Like we always say, true love always wins. We just need to have the faith. That's all.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I learned from you guys. Trust and faith. Send him 24/7 a day. And this is what I've been doing from the first time I spoke to you guys. Love, faith, and trust. Just send and send and send loads of it. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And helped.
And and it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Yes. Forgiveness and forgiveness.
Let's forgive yourself and forgive the situation.
Yeah.
And also, very importantly, what I found was the biggest remedy is when I forgive my karmic. Because I had to forgive. It was hard. It was really, really hard to forgive. And I know for sure, 100%, Reena hasn't. I know my wife.
I haven't. I'm going to tell you, I haven't.
She hasn't.
I haven't.
And
if I see her, I'm going to beat the fuck out of her.
See? But the reason I say that, it's eating away at her like a parasite.
It's not eating me away. I want to beat her up. That'll make
me
happy.
But once you fully forgive, everything will be cool.
Her human side's a little heavy right now, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I needed to hear this.
She's got it. She's got it. She's controlling it.
Got it.
No death, no
She deserves it.
Forgiveness and love is the key. And faith. And
I have to just say, so when you guys were going through this, what she had done was she has completely taken your energy. She siphoned your energy, Reena. She powered you completely down, drained you completely so that you couldn't do shit. She siphoned and basically cloned your energy to appear like his twin, is how she did this, right? We talked about this. And then she had all this other, she was a high level clusterfuck. Let's just say that. She voodoo, gypsy, all this fucking shit. She had like multiple high level demonic incarnations of it. Anyway, but the beautiful thing about it is that at the time you were saying you couldn't feel your connection. He was saying, you're not my twin, I don't feel connected to you at all. But now that she's been removed and you have your connection back, I think you just emailed us last week. I'm getting goosebumps on this. It just like almost made me cry. You're like, we're feeling the connection again, right? You guys got your like your original true connection is starting to build and you're feeling it, and it's just fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I think we're more awakened to the connection that we had before all the bullshit happened. It's a lot intense and different now. So
it's getting really, really powerful now. Like, I'll give you an example. When we had our break, I went to the bathroom and I was thinking,
oh God.
I was thinking out loud. And I was thinking, I left the door open. We got the ensuite just here, and Reena was speaking it to you about her abilities. So these kind of stuff are happening back again, and it'll be like, I'll be thinking, it should be like, oh, we need to do this tomorrow. I was like, yes, I was just thinking that we need to do this. We're back to that again. So yeah,
you think I say you I think you speak.
But then now and again, the stubbornness still comes back in. We're both stubborn as fuck.
Well, you're twins.
That's on the human side. But what we have to realize, then it will always be one of us that will back down and drop the ego and drop the pride. And Reena always reminds me, because I'm a Taurus, so she always reminds me, drop the pride and drop the ego. But one thing I like to add, this whole thing has given me a major ego death, the pride is, I used to be a really proud person. It's part of being a Taurian or whatever labels you want to put it. But now it's just, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what people will think. I don't care. If I step out there butt naked, I don't care what people will think anymore. Because going out there naked is nothing compared to what we've been through. And
right, exactly.
there's more to life. There's definitely more to life, you know, and it's just about spreading the unconditional love and just doing the work.
Another way of saying is we have actually been stripped naked.
Yeah.
In that way, in that sense, but
in all senses, you have. And what's so beautiful about it, though, is like you were talking about, not, you know, you want to beat the shit out of the karmic. Most of us do, but just saying, look how close you guys are because of this experience, though. So if you can look at it from a thankful place, and you guys both are, I mean, holy shit, you went through this, and look how bonded you are. Like you have a beautiful path ahead of you. So it was designed to happen. It needed to happen. You guys are moving into your light. You know how to clear and protect. You guys are stepping into your true twin power because of what happened. So she was just a pawn in kind of helping you realize and awaken to the power that you actually have.
Yeah.
So we see it. I see it.
We've also had we've had many more confirmations while we were on vacation that we have to shine our light, because particular example, I went to stay at my stepmom's place, and my children just wouldn't relax. It was about, again, this 11:11 keeps coming up. So we left the house, my stepmother's house, probably about 10:45 in the night, because my children couldn't sleep. So we're going back to our apartment. And on the way there, we found a guy on the road, and his motorbike just crashed, and there was no one helping him, and so on. And we'll find all these broken people that, another particular example, we went out to eat on a Sunday, and this woman came up to us in the parking lot, and she was begging, and she asked for money. And when I was giving her the money, she said no, she doesn't want the money. It's her son's birthday, and she hasn't got any money to buy him a birthday cake, and that her husband left her for another woman, and she's out trying to get money together. So she didn't want our money. So we went out, we took her to the supermarket, we took her to the store, and we bought her the cake. Reena was crying all the way. And it's just things like that keeps happening more and more and more and more to validate the work we have to do. Because at the moment I'm in a state of limbo still, because I haven't fully found what my purpose is yet. But yet I don't want to go back into what I used to do as well, because I know I'm going to be wasting my time. So I know it's coming. And patience is another key word here. Is patient. Be patient, because when you're going through all that shit, or you've come out and you're dealing with it, it seems like the world is slipping away from you, because there's a lot of guilt that's attached to it that will make you feel that way. There's a lot of resentment that will be within you, because it will be the resentment towards whichever party has inflicted the pain. So we have to go through all that, and it's not easy, because there were times where when I did come back, I was about to walk away again. That will still be very strong in you, but you just have to step up. You know, I know it's easy to say now to step up, but somehow you have to find that strength. You have to find the strength within. We all have it. And you
need to find the right woman as well to stand by you. If you have the right woman, everything's possible.
Yes, if you have the right pit bull, I was say the right bitch.
That's all right. That goes.
Yeah, you need to have your gangster bitch next to you, basically.
See, the thing is, if I give up, you would have given up too.
Right. And so many are, because they just don't understand.
It's just the energy that sometimes, which I did not understand as well. But with time, I'm beginning to understand, if I don't want something, he will not want it, because it's obviously we share the same energy. So if I want to give up, he would want to give up too. So the best thing to do is just stand in front of that mirror, picture him in front of me, say, right, that's it. I'm your mirror. I'm not giving up. why the fuck are you giving up? Come back. And it works. It works. It took me a while, because I remember asking you guys question about, I think I sent Tanya, I think Tanya replied to that message, to that email. I asked, right, how do I need to feel him? In the 3D, in the 5D, in meditation? I don't feel him. What do I need to do? How do I need to do this? And then Tanya says, all you need to do is send love, faith, trust all the time. Keep on sending him, say it was not your fault, and things like that. So with time, I was practicing that, I was doing it. But then I think sometimes your higher self, whatever you want to call it, kind of guide you, help you, right? Okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's when I realized, okay, we share the same energy. And obviously, like they say, likes attract likes. So if you keep that energy good, this is what you want. That's exactly what he will want as well. And the thing is, I know we complicate our life ourselves, because we're only human having this, you know, little experience. But it's emotions and everything else that comes into it that kind of stops you from doing the right thing a lot of time. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but for me, emotions been really, really bad, because as a wife, as a mother, as everything, there was a lot of things stopping me from like focusing on just this. But eventually I got round to it. I actually understood that, right, okay, this is the energy, we share the same energy, and if I am doing this, I'm being a bitch, he's just going to be exactly the same to me. And if I'm nice to him, he's going to be nice. And there were some times when he was coming home to see the kids, I wasn't talking to him, or I was just being nice. Do you want a cup of tea? This and that. I was being nice, civil, and he was being the same as well. So there was no argument. So it was easy. But with time, then obviously now we practice it a lot about the energy thing. I realized, right, we do share the same energy, and if I'm upset, somehow he will be upset in his own way. Maybe he won't show, but it will affect him somehow. And vice versa as well. So we're learning. You guys are kicking ass, and look at how happy you are. I told you I wasn't going to cry, so there, huh?
Don't pretend you're shy. She weren't like that in bed last night.
Oh yeah, I know. You guys are lighting up the hemisphere. I love it. If anything's shaking in the UK, it's their fault.
That's it. That way we're going to light up the UK, and I'll get all the twins out, pick them up one by one. Have the guardianship. But you guys have been absolutely amazing. And without, on a serious note now, without you guys, I don't think we would be able to even be doing this conversation, you know. And thank you for everything that you've done. From the bottom of our heart. From our hearts, for the help. From the bottom of our soul, you know, Lynn was saying she was going to cry. It looks like Tanya's crying down there.
No, not yet, but you're going to make me if you keep going.
She's Bailey. She cries all the time. I don't cry.
So it's a bit like me. I know you don't cry. I cry.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story. I mean, I do have to say, Reena, I mean, even when she was in her absolute worst state, like when you talked about her suicidal, I wasn't going to talk about that today, but when Tanya and I, the first time we met with her, we hung up going, oh my God, I don't know if she's going to make it through this. Like, Tanya and I were feeling like this is such a weight on us because she doesn't have anywhere else to turn. And if we don't fucking get this right, I don't want to have this on top of me. But we were like, then we got to go in guns blazing. And even in her darkest, weakest moments, Reena has been pitbull. I'm not kidding. Like she would email us in the middle of the night, completely frustrated. There's times when she would lash out like she just didn't know what to do. And she never stopped believing in you, ever. Like we were like, holy shit, look at her. She's by herself. She might get evicted. She has no kids. I mean, your situation was so dire. And no matter what you went through, the only thing that mattered was that he was okay. It wasn't that he was coming back, but like you were saying earlier, is the only thing that matters is that he's okay. And if we can get him okay, he's free to make whatever choice what he wants. But that was like, honestly, it was her only priority was that you were okay. It was beautiful. It was like if every DF could
absolutely.
be a Reena, this whole fucking community would be just blazing right now.
Absolutely.
So you're Reena, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Look, now she's crying. She's gonna make me cry too.
And I also like to add, don't listen to tarot.
Oh yeah,
Do
no.
not listen to people fucking getting a few cards together and what spirit is saying or what their subconscious is saying or whatever. Do not listen to tarot. Do not listen to shitty videos out there being done by people, by beautiful music at the beginning and twin flame connection. Fuck these people. I'm sorry to say it, but I've been through the shit and I've got the authority to talk. Please do not listen. Don't. Switch off Google, because remember, the dark is communicating through technology. I've said that earlier on.
Yeah.
And the information out there is so distorted. It's distorted to take you off your path. This is why people like Lynn and Tanya are not all over the social media. They're not all over the place. But when the time will come, you will find them. And you will find this video or any videos, and it will make sense to you at that time.
You will be guided to. You'll be guided to find the right person at the right time. In divine timing.
You brought a really good point, because like you were saying earlier, there's so much in this community that is misdirected, or there's a lot of channelings that aren't from the original beings because people don't know how to validate. And like, there's so many people who've grown up in dark, or they've grown up around dark, or they've had healers that were tipping the edge. And there's so many people who are being shown something dark, but it masquerades as light, because dark can show up as the most beautiful angel you've ever seen, and it can totally convince you, and it can walk the walk, and it can talk the talk. And a lot of people are being misled by some angelic or some, divine being that's really not. And so a lot of people are being sent into the wrong direction and giving bad information.
Yeah.
So
right.
You guys got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely do.
You guys nail it. And I love how you teach everybody everywhere you go. Reena was like, we're using this everywhere and we're helping people. It's just amazing. It's what we're supposed to be doing, right? Is spreading the light and
we're trying.
Helping everybody step into their light power. So.
That's it. And what's also beautiful, what we've also learned from you, has made my life easier sometimes. I can get lazy with the protection, which is something that I don't like. But as soon as I get lazy, I speak to Reena. I say, Reena, I'm not doing it today. Can you step in? I don't feel like I want to do it. Can you do it for me? She's like, yeah, cool, I'll get it done. Yeah. So as you practice it more, it gets easier.
It becomes a way of life, probably.
Before it used to take me half an hour. Now I do it like in 2 minutes.
There you go.
Literally, like I'm walking or I'm driving or whatever I'm doing. I need to do it. I just call on, boom, 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 and I feel that it's there. And it's just filling up the balloon again. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's the way I say it. It's just topping up the air. Or in my case, we're topping up the nicotine. And Reena.
Not me.
That's all it is. That's all it is. But we need to be taught.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you're in the right places.
But like I say, it's all in divine timing. We meet the right person at the right time. Never mind.
I'm so thrilled with you guys, and I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Really.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Anytime. Next week. Do it again.
We'll do it. We'll do it on a weekly basis.
Sounds good. There we go.
It's all good. You never know. Soon I might just be doing a quad team now.
There we go.
You never know. You never know what's in store. You know.
You guys have been awesome enough to offer that if anybody has questions for kind of like how this went down, if they want you to elaborate on something, you will be responding to people in the comment sections. Not don't make a job out of it. But if you happen to, if anybody has a question for them, like something is kind of pinged them, they're like, hey, I really want to know this, you guys. Reena and Udam, you guys have both offered to respond to people's comments. Anyway, we'll let you know
I'd
too.
love to do that.
And also what I like to add as well, I'm willing to do this if when you're putting this video out, I'll give you my email address. And if anybody wants to email me or anything like that, or privately, because sometimes people don't want to put their things in public.
Totally.
I'm willing to help on that level as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You guys are beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Get the Kleenex out now.
It's not happening. Anyway, love you guys.
Love you
Love
too.
you too.
Love you.
And thank
Have
you.
a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
You guys can go to bed now. And the rest of the UK, just hold on.
Oh, she just kissed me on my eye.
No, I
I'm
didn't.
so sorry.
You, she did.
Oh, okay.
You can see? You don't see things.
No, because I was catching.
Oh, I caught it before you. I'm too fast.
Oh my
Well, I
God.
like the way we think, though.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.